I was talking with Coach Lee earlier today about how you guys kind of trimmed down your schemes in the offseason last year. In your first year in the system, you threw a lot, maybe figured out what worked. What was that process kind of like, deciding what to keep? And is that kind of how you look at the year one to year two transition?
Year one, it was a new stuff for us.
Sure.
We're basically running the same stuff, but they've had time to digest now. Last year we had to throw stuff out because it was the first year and it got too much, but we brought a lot of that back this year because we've had time. Spring ball, we've had training camp, they had it last year. So we still bring a lot of stuff with them, but they've seen it for 2 years.
What do you think the biggest positive you can take away about having a second year? Is there anything you can point to?
Well, it's kind of what we were talking about, the ball disruption issues, and I truly believe it takes over 1 year for them to really get in their mindset that we're going for that ball. Everything, we're going for the quarterback, we're going for the ball. We're not just trying to hit the quarterback, we're trying to hit the ball. Running backs, we're trying to strip the ball, not just tackle. That takes about a year, in my experience, for them to really digest. When I was watching the Super Bowl last year, and the D lineman hit the quarterback's arm, and the linebacker for Seattle intercepted the ball and ran. My phone blew up with a bunch of texts from all the defense players saying, "Hey, he broke the arm." That's what I call it. He hit the arm. Oops, sorry. He hit the arm like twice happened in the game in Clemson. He hit the arm and the ball flutters, and we talk about it all the time. But when they always texted me after that Super Bowl, right when it happened, I was like, okay, these guys, I think they're really starting to get it now. The first year, you're trying to over and over just tell them, but I think it becomes natural in the second year where they're not thinking about it, they're just doing it now.
Another thing Clark kind of talked about is when you guys sat down and talked about the way you blitz, and that maybe what you run isn't all that different than other teams, but the timing, the spacing, the small variables that make a blitz successful. What was that process like, looking at that? And is there anything that you changed in camp about the way you practiced or drills that you did to allow that?
No, I truly believe it's being in the second year in the system, because in the first year you're trying to figure out what this defense is called this defense is called this defense is called it, what's my blitz line, after they've gone through it a year and then you get winter and then you get spring and now you're back in the fall, they're like, okay, I know what this is. I call that I know exactly what my blitz line. So it always takes a little bit of time.
Are there any, I'm sure there are a lot, but are there plays that you like to point to this season and think, maybe we wouldn't have quite gotten that last year?
Plays that,
I don't know, more complex scheme that had worked out, or a timing of a play that needed to hit?
I think there's more game planning stuff we can do this year because they have the base of all the other defenses, so we can throw a couple in here every week. I think we can make sideline adjustments more. We can say, hey, we're doing this. We've done it before, and they recall it. Instead of last year, it was, hey, we got to do this. It was, it's the first time we've ever done it. So I think sideline adjustment helps a lot.
Looking back to last year, are there any instances where really basic things didn't go right in the game, maybe aligning in the wrong set or not understanding the play that you can kind of point to show that growth?
I thought the Clemson game, we had a bunch of MAs. They scored those touchdowns. We were MAs. It was simple coverages. That's when we step back and say, okay, we got to really cut this down this year because it's just they can't handle it right now. And so that's the game that always sticks out in my mind because we had a lot of busted coverages that they got those big plays on.
Yes, big plays is kind of the next thing I wanted to ask about because you haven't given up a ton of them this year.
They've been doing a good job.
Is there anything else that we haven't talked about that you think really has contributed to that?
No, I think you're exactly right. We have not given up big plays. The ball disruption turnovers is really in their minds now going into the game. They understand the system a little better. I think all those things really help in terms of just creating. And obviously next year you hope it's improved even more because they have another year in the system.